Before you buy a classic car, there's a few things that you've got to check, because if you don't, it's going to cost you time, money, and you might not end up with a classic car that you want. Over the last 6 years, I've bought and sold over 100 cars, including this lovely MG ZT. And I bought some absolute gems, but equally, I've also made some mistakes. So this video is part of a series where we'll cover off everything you need to know when buying a classic car. This first video is all about the importance of looking at the external condition of the car. Before we get into the nuts and bolts of condition, it's vital that you see any car in the flesh, because remember, pictures only tell half a story. So the main thing with any classic in terms of its exterior appearance is rot and rust. Now, there will be cosmetic rust and there will be terminal rust, and it's key just to point out the two. Take this Mini, for example. So we have to recognise that this Mini is nearly 50 years old. So it will have had some work over the years. But what you're looking for on this particular Mini is evidence of filler or rot down here in the rear quarters, cosmetic rust on the doors and the A-pillars. And if we look down here as well on the front valance, you've also got some evidence of rust down here, but that is purely cosmetic, it's not terminal. So let's have a look at this Rover where the rear arch is starting to rot out and the sill as well. You can see there that it's paint starting to flake away, so that will need repairing in the near future. Another example is this Ford Escort, where you've got some really obvious rust just underneath here, underneath the rear spoiler. And then inside the boot, you've got signs of less obvious corrosion, which you'd only know if you lifted up the boot floor, the boot mat. And you can see here, rot on the boot floor and in the boot corner. The next thing to have a look at when you look at the externals of a car is the paintwork, principally accident damage. As you can see on this Mini, it looks nice and fresh and even, the paintwork's nice and bright. The fact that this Mini is nearly 50 years old and the paint is so bright says to me that at some point in time this Mini has had a bit of paint, which isn't surprising given how old it is. But what you're looking for if you're looking at a classic is evidence of paint fade, you're looking at any orange peel problems, you're looking at any lack of lift at all on the paintwork, just anything that could give you an indication that it's perhaps had a bit of paintwork in its life. Not necessarily a bad thing, but it might give you a clue as regards the history of the car and maybe what's happened to it. So another sign of previous accident damage could be demonstrated with the shut lines here. So you have a look on this 25-year-old BMW, the paint match is nice and even and the shut line is really nice there. It's nice and even all the way down. If it wasn't so even and it was a bit uneven and narrow than wide, it could indicate that that's had a new panel. Another thing to consider when you're looking at a classic tyres, not just the make but also the tread depth and the tread wear. So ideally you want 4 matching tyres on the classic, that shows it's been looked after. But even though it's not the end of the world. I suppose as a minimum you're looking for the same make on each axle. This Jaguar has Continentals on the back and Maxxis on the front. Tyre wear is good, tyre depth is good as well. So the next thing I want to talk about is registration plates. And this is a personal preference and it's more of a nice to have than a need to have, but I love a classic with a matching set of registration plates from the dealer. So you can see on this Rover that originally supplied by Windsors of Wallasey on the Wirral, matching front and rear reg plates. It's also got the Windsors of Wallasey sticker in the rear window, which is great. So if you find a car with non-matching reg plates front and rear, don't be too concerned, but it might just prompt a question. This car here has a dealer registration supplied up front, but on the back, it's a replacement with no dealer signature on there or sign. Does that mean it's had a bit of a bump on the back? Actually, no, it doesn't, because I had a look and I had a word with the owner and they explained that the rear reg plate had become delaminated, so it was an MOT fail, so we had to get it replaced. Just remember, when you go and see a classic car, just because it's shiny doesn't mean it's actually any good. So do the checks along the lines of what I've talked about and you won't go far wrong.
Action.
Before you buy any classic car, that's not a good start, is it? Because if you don't and you get it wrong, it's going to cost you time, money, and you might not end up with a car you really, really want. What?
really want to.
Over the last 6 years, I've bought and sold over 100 cars. And I've found... Before we talk about the condition of the car, it's vital that you see any proposed purchase in the flesh. No, that's rubbish. We've got a chicken that's about to... Chicken, go away. So... Sorry. She loves company, that's the problem.